ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for good friend and colleagues, Mr. Tyler Wyatt, at Tyler Wyatt Bets, at The Odds Culture, and of course Matt Grissom on the half hour, talking SEC and Westgate contests here. Big slate of college football here today. The list is endless. Get a battery for your remotes because you're going to need it here over the weekend, bouncing back. Oh, by the way, a Ryder Cup. Oh, by the way, the last weekend of MLB. Who's in, who's out. So get those batteries ready. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. And of course, Terry Smith and AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. Just set it and forget it with 4 subscription plans as well, like I do. Head on over to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Without further ado, Mr. Tyler Wyatt. What's up, T?
What's happening, JD?
It is a weekend we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for some of these marquee games as the Crimson Tide travel between the hedges to face Georgia. A whiteout in Penn State. Coach Mr. Consig himself will be high above courtside for that game here, rooting for Penn State. It might be an omen right there for the Nittany Lions, who have not played anyone, who had a week off and are favored by 3.5. And before we dig into all these games, Tyler, it almost smells like the public dog of the weekend. You're going to give me the Ducks plus 3.5? Where do I sign up?
Yeah, the model also favors Oregon in that one. So I hated, obviously pretty well documented on social media and across, terrestrial media, the passing of Dave Sherapan, very good friend of both you and I. It feels like you said, it's Penn State's going to have an extra man on the field there. I hated to see the model go against Penn State there, but Oregon actually shot up to number 1 in my power ratings. So, that's just what the numbers say. But yeah, this slate, pretty small overall slate. A lot of teams scheduled their, schedules made years in advance, but this is a bye week for a lot of teams. So a little shorter overall slate. But there's a couple of really, really good games. You mentioned, obviously, Oregon and Penn State, but then Alabama and Georgia, a big one, and Tennessee, Mississippi State. That was not a game that was, projected to be one that eyes would be on in July and August leading up to the start of the season. That Mississippi State team could be a sleeper in the SEC. And, obviously Tennessee was not a team necessarily penciled in to that playoff conversation with a road win against Mississippi State. They inch closer to a top 10 rating. But, yeah, this week USC goes to Illinois. Illinois, surprising team from last weekend, just absolutely dominated by Indiana. But yeah, while Ohio State going to Washington could be tricky, the model does like Ohio State to pull the number there, but Washington not an easy place to go in and get a win. Well coached, really tough, gritty team defensively. Could be interesting for 2 or 3 quarters there. LSU and Ole Miss, Auburn and A&M. So yeah, there's some. While it's a smaller plate than the last couple of weeks, there are certainly some games that we need to keep an eye on that will have kind of domino implications towards that playoff conversation and that last 12th team in.
Well, it's funny because you brought up Mississippi State. I call it, cowbell heaven. The funny thing is we didn't expect this. And you got to go back a few weeks. I think Arizona State, double-digit favorites, came in there and they were ran out of the game in the first half. And I was looking at the numbers. I did a show this morning with Scotty Webb, and what really stands out to me, I know the other games, Mississippi State hasn't played anyone, but how they were able to shut down your numbers, your model. Is this Mississippi State defense for real? Because I know they can't roll the ball out there and say, all right, Tennessee, first one to 33 wins this game.
Yeah, they can't play a track meet. If the game is a track meet, will not end well for Mississippi State. They need to keep this. One, I think they'll want to run the ball, establish the run. Tennessee's ran the ball pretty efficiently too, so this could be a game. Our number on the total is pretty in line. I've got 60.9, so field goal, I guess, off where Circa has. They have 64 and 8 Tennessee. That number was 10.5, and FanDuel and DraftKings were offering 10.5 just before the conclusion of Saturday's games. So our number is 9.8, so not terribly off. Will be a no play for us. But yeah, this is a game I think that needs to be played well into the low 50s for Mississippi State. I think to have a cover chance. If they turn Tennessee over, and Joey Aguilar, the quarterback for Tennessee, was a little loose last week against an outmatched UAB team. There were a couple of ugly passes, one really bad interception, and there was another one that should have been a pick six. This is a Mississippi State team that can capitalize. If this game were at night, that environment in Starkville, I've had the pleasure or displeasure, actually, of watching my Kentucky lose a couple times there. At night, with those bells, and I can say it because I live in the South, when you get a bunch of drunk rednecks with bells in their hands hitting all day, I promise you, Jeff, it's an atmosphere, if you're the road team, you don't want to be in. If this game were at 7 or 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock, this game would be completely different. The numbers would still be close to the same, but it would feel like a different game, in my opinion. The fact that this is an afternoon game, I think, is huge for Tennessee. That they 3 hours less tailgating, still daylight, I think plays into Tennessee's hands. It should be a really good football game. Tennessee's offense has the ability to get out in front, and it's a Mississippi State offense that's just not built to come from behind. Although they did against Northern Illinois, spotted them a touchdown and a half, and then came back and took the lead before halftime. Yeah, this is a game on paper. It should be a really good matchup. Be interesting not having be the first game of the year that our model hasn't had to play on a Tennessee game. So, as a Kentucky fan, I'll sit back and just root for a good game. I do hope Tennessee wins. I've been in Knoxville long enough now that I've established a lot of friendships and friends that own businesses. So I want Tennessee to do well when they're not playing Kentucky. But yeah, that's one of the games that wasn't really, when you were looking at week 5 in mid-August, wasn't a game that stood out. Tennessee can't slip up here. If they overlook Mississippi State, they have a bye week next week, so I don't think there'll be any fear of that. Get a tough road win, take the bye week, and then then they got to finish out, obviously. But yeah, that was a game that was added. Florida State and Virginia, another one of those games. Didn't really know what to make of Florida State. Was in love with their quarterback. Thought that was a huge get. I'm a huge fan of the BC transfer. Virginia, one of those teams, quietly, 3-1. They weren't expected to. They were expected to be in that, 4, 5, 6 teams in the ACC that were going to be, bowl eligible, but really weren't supposed to do much. Virginia at home. This could be a spot where Florida State, and I don't want to say they look ahead, but it's a Virginia team that's pretty good defensively, can do enough things offensively where if Florida State and that offense struggles at least early, they could find themselves in a kind of a slugfest there. But yeah, a couple of games there that aren't necessarily like sexy top 25 matchups, to keep an eye out as we get a better slate, next week, and then obviously going into October. But yeah, the Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, and Penn State, the two rightful uh, games that we need to be paying attention to, and they just happen to be right around the same time. So we need to have two TVs going at all times on Saturday.
Well, we can be at the circle with 22 TVs going. Before we get to your model and your
Absolutely.
plays in hand, 24 and 7, hot as lava, molten lava here. Matt Grissom comes on after you when you go live on your radio hit. Seems like we've seen this before in a couple regards here. Notre Dame travels to Arkansas. Arkansas fumble inside the 10 late, cost me the team total. Arkansas loses outright to Memphis. Maybe they were peeking ahead to this week. Here comes a Notre Dame team with already 2 losses. Rumor has it they win this game. They're not going to lose the rest of the way. So like last year, win at A&M, loses 28.5-point home favorites to Northern Illinois. Sheet get into the playoffs comfortably. It looks like Notre Dame, if they can win in Arkansas this week, has the schedule set up where they'll be the 2-loss team and they'll comfortably get in at 10, 11, or 12 there, Tyler.
Yeah, I hated to go against you last week. We did have Memphis. We had Memphis on, small favorite there. You mentioned the fumble there. It would have been an easy cover on the 7 or 7.5 plus there late. But yeah, this is an Arkansas team. Bad fumble there. It's a Notre Dame team coming off a tough loss with the snap there on the extra point. Still could have lost that game. Didn't necessarily. It wasn't the reason that they lost. Could have very well lost in overtime. But yeah, not a good way to end there for the special teams in Notre Dame. Now they travel to Fayetteville. Not a great place to play. They're probably lucky that this is a noon game and not a night game for the same reasons that I said for Tennessee. This is a Notre Dame team you mentioned, just can't afford to lose. Schedule's manageable from here on out. They'll be favored in likely every game, and then you've got a coin flip there at the end of the season. But yeah, lose this one and see you around. But this is a Notre Dame team. Number is pretty in line with where Circa had currently. We had 4 and 60.3. We did play under 64.5. Circa had that up late last night, early this morning, so I thought there was some value. I have a 32-28, 31 rounded, 28 projected final there. So did play under 64.5. I think this one, it's an offense in Arkansas. Green's just a really talented do-it-all guy. Notre Dame defensively, I think, can keep him in check. And then Arkansas struggles when they have to figure out some creative ways to move the ball. They're kind of handcuffed. It's a Notre Dame offense. It's been good, haven't been great. It's been good enough, but that defense is really their strength. I think they can slow down Arkansas and keep that game in the 20s. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this one is just a boring game that Notre Dame figures out a way to win late. But yeah, the total only play on that one. But Notre Dame cannot afford a slip up in Fayetteville. You did mention the schedule being manageable. But yeah, you don't want to have to win your last 7 games to get into a 12-team playoff. So, obviously a win here would go a long way.
Well, before you leave us in a couple minutes here, the model has been on fire. What do you got for us this week, T?
Yeah, it was a pretty lackluster week 3 and then just on fire on week 4. All those plays are published on Thursday, so just after we get off and I do a radio hit with Cumulus, all those plays for Saturday will be posted to the page. They're reflective of Circa's opener and current total, so if there's a highlighted play, it'll be highlighted on where we took that action. Sometimes it's the opener, and I don't put those out because I'm pretty selfish and I want to hit those before they move. But a lot of plays versus a current Circa number, so you can still a number of games you can find some value on. A game tonight, Friday, Florida State and Virginia. Our total on that one, 57. Circa had a 60 available. Took that. Our number on the game was 6.1, pretty in line with the 7 that Circa had. TCU and Arizona State, 3-point number with a total of 54.5. Our total on that one, pretty in line, but we had Arizona State 7.4 at home against TCU. So we're playing the Sun Devils. Louisville goes on the road to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been just one of those teams really hard to figure out. 4.5 and 58. Circa has up currently. Our number on that game was 9. We played Louisville on the road, Cincinnati at Kansas, and our model a 9-point favorite. Also a 4.5 there against Cincinnati. It's a Kansas team. Jalen Daniels, really, really talented offense. They can do just about anything. Kansas State just been an abysmal team, hard to figure out. 6-point favorite right now at home against Central Florida. Central Florida team that we have favored. It's by 0.5 point, but nearly 6.5 points different from where the market had that one. So we're back in the Golden Knights there on the road at Kansas State. Ohio State was one of those teams I mentioned, 8.5 and 52.5. Our number came in right at 52. We have an 11.5 in the Ohio State game, so 3 points over where Circa has. Texas A&M, a 6.5-point favorite at home against a really talented Auburn team. A&M at home, electric atmosphere. It's a day game, night game there. Really, really scary. But we have a 9.1 on that one, so 3.5 points off nearly where Circa had that one trading. And then going back to the end, we were against Indiana last week, and we're going against them again this week. 8-point road favorite at Iowa. Our number on that game was 4.2. So back to Iowa catching just over a touchdown. I think the Iowa defense can do enough to slow down an electric Indiana offense. I think this is a game that's played within a touchdown. So I was happy to take Iowa over a touchdown. And then Northern Illinois, a team that gave Mississippi State fits last week. San Diego State's a 2-point favorite on the road. A low total in that one at 43. Total we have is pretty in line with that. But we have Northern Illinois favored. It's a wrong team favorite. 2.8-point favorite in our model. So happy to take them catching points. Do think they win the game at home outright. And then another wrong team favorite, a team you're familiar with, UConn, 3.5-point road favorites against Buffalo on the road. Not so fast, my friend. We got Buffalo a 1.5-point favorite at home. So I think Buffalo spoils and pulls, I guess, in quotes, an upset. You're a 3.5-point home dog, not a huge upset, but I think Buffalo should be favored in that one. So happy to take Buffalo plus.
Well, you got your hit in 30 seconds. We can't thank you enough. Go follow Tyler at Tyler Wyatt Bets, and of course at The Odd Culture. T, have a great weekend. Enjoy all the games, and we'll catch up with you next week.
See you next week, JD.
Take care. Tyler Wyatt, go follow him, of course, at Tyler Wyatt Bets at Odds Culture. Quick commercial break, and when we come back, Matt Grissom talking about SEC, talking about what he saw last weekend, talking about his Westgate card, and much, much more. Please, please, please stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Good friend and colleague, Mr. Matt Grissom. Been a tough weekend, start of the week for both of us, with Mr. Showerpan passing and our good friend, Mr. Marty Lowe, one of our biggest fans here. So let's bring him on, Mr. Matt Grissom. What's up, Matt?
Free.
What's going on?
Man, I feel like I've got to just take the Tide this weekend for old Marty.
It's almost
always quick to hop in the chat and say roll Tide. But yeah, tough week.
Almost like an omen, maybe a parlay of Penn State and Alabama. It's almost like we have to do it. It's an omen.
Yeah, except I'm on Oregon, so at least the +3.5. We'll get into that in a minute. How has Jeff Dawson been? You're rocking that Braves hat. That I hadn't made an MLB bet in probably a month, 2 months. And the first one I did, a little day baseball yesterday, I bet the Braves, and they lose to the Nats. So I'm back to not betting baseball. Paul Skeens was on the mound. Shocker, but Pittsburgh blew another lead for him.
I had my buddy from Montana reach out, and it was like, it's a funeral there. That there's no rally cry behind Skeens. Ends the year with a 1.97 ERA. Just can't file for non-support there, and almost like a curse. Hopefully, they follow the Garrett Cole model, and there's not enough money in the world that him and his agent says, hey guys, can you do us a favor and just can we move on from someone else to another team, at least with an opportunity to win there? How was, before we get into Arkansas last week, how was the Westgate contest for you last week?
It was not good. I
Okay.
thought 2 weeks ago I had a really bad week at, I think, 3-4 or 2-5. And I thought, well, that's as bad as it could get. And boy, was I wrong. I think I went 1-6 last weekend. Completely terrible. The numbers are super sharp, and I think I'm trying to get too cute. If I like a team at 7 and they're only offering me 6.5, I need to just stay off of it instead of being stubborn, I guess. But what are you going to do? The entry that Sean and I are in, though, however, it is doing much better. I think we're top 25 in it right now. But I'm also still trying to figure out this model thing. And last week, model went 25-25, so dead even. This is now the third week in a row where it's gotten worse. It was, I think, 28-19-2 the first weekend. So I'm thinking, all right, well, this is good. Let's build this out, see how it sustains itself. And then the more recency data I've been putting into it and less preseason stuff, it's just slowly gotten down to more of a 50-50. So Monday morning, scrapped everything, rebuilt it all again, ran like a retrofit test to see how it would have performed last weekend, and it would have went 36-14. So let's see if it's better. It's got to be better than 25-25. That's basically just simulating a coin flip. But we've got adjusted offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, adjusted power on offense and defense, and the numbers that stack up are all weighted with strength of schedule at this point, because we're just now getting to the point where everybody's kind of played a non-cupcake schedule. But I heard Tyler talk about Memphis. That game should have never, and this is, I'm going to use your platform for a second just to vent about Arkansas and what it's like to be an Arkansas fan. Memphis should have never been in that game. It was 28-10 with 36 seconds before halftime, and the Memphis receiver throat chokes the DB, gets the touchdown. It's 28-17. Memphis has some momentum going into the half. Completely blown call. Cannot believe that it wasn't called out. But I think in this day and age, we don't see all very much. But the more that I have thought about it, I think this is Arkansas. It's so Arkansas to win that game. When you're up the whole game, you're going into the fourth quarter, you're up the up. Somehow budget up. But being a Razorback fan, you're up 28-10. Go back to basketball. You're up 9, you're up 13 points with 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in the second set. You lose that game. LSU in the College World Series elimination game. You're up 5-3. Top of the top. You've got the best pitching staff. LSU wins. They go on. 2025, it's been Arkansas blowing. So, dare I say, if Arkansas has a lead going into the second half of Notre Dame, just hammer Notre Dame money line at plus one. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how you make money on the team other than betting that. In my insurance policy, I think it was 11 to 1 or 12 to 1 for Arkansas to lead the first half, but Memphis to win the second half. That cash. But I don't know. It's extremely frustrating because we've got an offensive second in efficiency in the second in explosive behind Florida State, and we can't stop anybody up. The effort was horrendous. We had giving up on the play. I don't know. They just should have put their foot on Memphis' throat. And that game should have never been a one possession game. It should have stayed a two possession game the entire game. But two bad picks by Taylor Green. That's what you get. Then you get out of the play.
Check your microphone. I don't know if you hit something. Again, there you go. Whatever you just did was perfect. No, and you're talking to someone that, as you said, you scored 28 points in the first half, and I can't even cash the team total over. I mean, how do you figure that?
No, they get so complacent. I don't understand why, and it's always kind of been. Go back to like the Brett Bielema days. Arkansas always had a problem with just pulling away. And I don't know if it's just a state issue, if it's a fundamental issue with every coach we've ever had. But just go score that extra touchdown and the game's out of hand. Prevent the extra touchdown and the game's out of hand. That's it. That's all you have to do. But damn, they just cannot do it. Ever.
Well, I'm looking at the SEC here this weekend. I'm just going to scroll right down the bottom. I'll probably miss one. Again, Notre Dame, Arkansas. What else do we got here? Come on now.
Yeah, a lot of good 11 a.m. games or noon games for you.
Tennessee, Mississippi State. Me and Ty talked about that. Kentucky, South Carolina, LSU, Mississippi. Auburn, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, of course. Walk us through the SEC this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but shocker, I'm on Arkansas plus 5.5 against Notre Dame. I have nerfed Arkansas's power rating so far that now I'm below Steve Makinen's from VSiN. Now he was always super low on Arkansas. I gave him more of a preseason bump because I thought Taylor Green in year 2 would be good. I'm higher on Notre Dame than he was. And here, after I run the projections, it has Arkansas winning this 34-27. You're talking about a 7-point favorite at home, and I can get them plus 5.5. It's nasty. I don't want to do it just because I know how much money they cost me last week, but I think that's the play, and I think that's indicative of how this line has moved. And then Friday, Florida State. I don't understand the 6.5, 7-point line for Florida State. I think Florida State is really good, and unless Tommy Castellanos doesn't play, which I know he got hurt last week, and the backup quarterback ended up coming in, and then his backup came in, which you should be able to do against Kent State. I think Florida State rolls this. I think Norvell and Gus Malzahn have something really special going with Florida State in this offense. I don't see them really skipping a beat. We saw what they did to Alabama. We saw what they've done to the two cupcake opponents, covering, I think, 50-point spreads. This feels fishy. Virginia, only plus 7, but I'll take the bait and take Florida State minus that. I think they can roll that game. And then going on down, I know you guys talked, but I didn't hear. He kind of skipped over it pretty quick. Auburn, Texas A&M. This is a 3:30 kickoff Eastern. We only make A&M minus 1.7 points, so Auburn plus 6.5 is a pretty good play. Auburn probably should have won that game last weekend against an Oklahoma team that I think is really good. Auburn didn't look like the Auburn that I thought they would be coming into the season. I think Jackson Arnold is going to be able to move the ball. Their offensive explosion rate is just as good as Texas A&M's. They're sitting at 70 and 65. That's scaled on a 15-75 scale, which is how I do my power ratings for anybody that cares. That's all at mattgrissom.com. You can go to the link tree and check out the power ratings and click on the full IPR, how we come up with those. But the defenses really aren't that good. Texas A&M is really not good at preventing explosive offenses. So the fact that now you have an Auburn team feeling like they probably should have won last week, they're coming in to A&M. It's not a night game. It's during the day, although Kyle Field is always loud with 150 million people. How many ever people fit in that stadium? Yeah, I'm going with Auburn. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers pull this one outright, though.
A game that's getting thrown under the rug here, and you know, I'm not putting them up at the upper echelon. I'm a big Nussmeier fan. I was last year. I think their defense is solid. We know what Ole Miss can do. We know what they can do at home. Kiffin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And with so many marquee games, I don't think this game's getting talked up enough here. But am I crazy to say, Matt? I actually lean the LSU side here.
Well, I don't hate that because I don't feel like we've seen the potential of Garrett Nussmeier. We saw what Arkansas was able to do against this Ole Miss defense, and albeit the defense is not great for Ole Miss, their numbers are actually pretty solid. It just kind of depends on what offense you get. This LSU offense right now, they're absolutely terrible in offensive efficiency. They're not finishing drives. They're not getting points when they need to get points. And if you don't do that against Ole Miss, we know that their offense can go score. I don't care if it's the second or third string quarterback in. Plus, you've got the added now. Landry Kiffin decided to make her relationship with linebacker Whit Weeks public. And if you didn't see this, Lane Kiffin on Mikey Over, I don't know how you say it, but he posted on Twitter and told Mikey, take the over. From Lane Kiffin's mouth or fingertips, he tweeted, take the over. I think in all honesty, I think Ole Miss's offense is ahead of LSU, and the defenses are about a toss-up. So I think this one's just going to come down to who has the ball last. And if Nussmeier can make some plays, he's gonna be able to keep LSU in it. But as of right now, I've got to lean Ole Miss to get this done at home.
Between the hedges, Alabama, Georgia, we know must-watch TV. Alabama sleptwalk opening week in Tallahassee. 13.5-point favorites get run out of the building by Castellanos and the Seminoles. Get back home, get fat. There are apples and oranges team, road versus home. Now they come back on the road. Only 3.5 points between the hedges. Hats off to Georgia. They're come from behind win against the Vols. Different animal back home. I think this could be a statement game for Kirby, but if the Tide and Coach DeBoer find a way to win this, start buying stock in the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I don't think Alabama wins this, although the metrics for their offense look really good, and we saw what their defense looks like against a powerful offense. I mean, Brazel and Joey Aguilar for Tennessee, they threw it all over Georgia in that game. Now, that was it was a great comeback for Georgia. I'm not going to discredit that, but Tennessee gave that game away. I think that was their wake-up call, and they may have played their worst defense of the season, and they still won. I think Georgia probably gets this one here. We make this line 28-24 in favor of Georgia. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one stays tight. But coming into the season, I wasn't really high on Ty Simpson for Alabama. Faded them against Florida State in week 1 and was profitable on that. But then he's looked good the rest of the year. And I have to give credit where credit's due. But I just think Georgia is going to clean up their defense. Their offense is going to be able to move the ball without any issues. So give me the Bulldogs here. I'm sorry, Marty. Roll Tide.
You know, the game I've talked about all morning, I talked about it with Scotty Webb this morning at 9:15. Again, talked it about to Tyler, and I'm going to talk to you about it. Is this Mississippi State team 4-0? The Cowbells will be loud and proud. As Tyler said, you know, it's not a 7 to 7:30 game. Thank God. Here comes the Vols in 7-point favorites, and I think everyone that's got their eyes on Tennessee says, "Oh, well, who have they played?" Well, they played an Arizona State team, which people are basically pretty high on, and they just shut them down for 2 quarters. Arizona State tried to make a late rally. I know they ran for 1,000,000 yards. I know Scatterboo is now with the job. I get all that. Am I overinflating this defense? Meaning, listen, if it's a shootout, Tennessee covers a 7. I know that for a fact. You know that for a fact. But can this this Mississippi State team actually control the ball and slow the Vols down, or am I drinking the Kool-Aid here?
They're slightly above average in basically every metric. So 45 would be average on a 75-15 scale. They're 51, 55, 56, 50 in favor of the defensive efficiency and offensive explosive power. So basically what that means is they're good on defense efficiently, so they're getting ahead early in downs. But the power, they're preventing some explosive plays, or since they're ahead in offensive power, they can make explosive plays, which has kind of been Tennessee's bugaboo when on defense. But the thing that worries me is the defensive efficiency for Tennessee, or offensive efficiency for Tennessee, is all the way up to 62, and their explosive power is 65. I think if it does turn into a shootout, Tennessee probably rolls by 2 or 3 touchdowns. But there's something about Starkville, those Cowbells, and a little belief that maybe Tennessee could be caught sleeping a little bit, like when they went on the road against Arkansas last year. The model likes Mississippi State. It makes this 32-29 Tennessee win, but a Mississippi State cover. So if it's nasty, stay away from it. But this one may be too advantageous on Mississippi State to not take a nibble at +7, +7.5. That's probably going to be one of my picks. Maybe plug your nose and just do it.
Before we wrap this up, you talked about the highs and lows in the Westgate contest. Again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Bounce back week, hopefully for you cards out there, your eyes on. And the hardest thing is this is, you know, when I was a kid, I was that guy handing out the football cards. And of course, every game was on 3, 4, 7, 10, on 14, on the key numbers. And as you said, hey, I really like this team +7.5, yet the contest has it at 6.5. Well, do I stick with it? And we know how key numbers work here. What are your eyes seeing? It's early still for the card, but have you seen anything that kind of jumps out at you this week?
Yeah, and that's the hardest part is I do the majority of my handicapping Sunday, Monday, and get my bets in. And then as the week progresses, the lines move so much. Last week I got Arkansas -5.5, and which again, that didn't matter. But if they score and they get the extra point or go for 2 to go up 7 or 8, it would have covered where the closing number, I think, was out to like 8.5, 9. But that really messes you up about logic and do you want to go with the bet or do you want to go with the number? But looking at this right now, I think my card is going to consist of some Florida State, Arkansas, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Oregon. First pass through. I may not even have said 7 games. This Illinois USC game, that was one we kind of glossed over for an 11 a.m. kickoff for me. That's one where USC looked really good, and wherever you got that number last week, I think it was like 14 and a half against Michigan State, got that. And then by the time it closed or when the contest came out, I think it was up to 18 and a half, which Michigan State ended up covering that number. Just absolutely insane. But USC looks like the real deal. Illinois just got completely embarrassed by Signetti and Indiana. I think they respond well. The 6.5 is going to be the marker, though. I'm trying to see. Yeah, for the contest, it's Illinois plus 6.5. That's so nasty. You won't give us a touchdown, but it may not matter. I think if the model's right on this, this is about a 4-point game. So 32-28 USC. We'll see. I think Illinois' defense can be buggy enough just to keep USC from being able to dominate this game.
Yeah, I don't want to say that Illinois was peaking. When I'm way, way off on a number, I want to know why. And that Illinois-Indiana number just kept going. Indiana, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. I'm just like, they couldn't get any action on Illinois, get blown off the field. In comes a USC team, which has got a high-octane offense, a great quarterback. But again, the overreaction, almost like in the NFL as well, is, this number at some point, 7 would be great, of course, but I think it's actually a pretty damn good bounce back spot for the Illini.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then how good is Indiana? I mean, that may have been the highest jump I took other than Florida State week 1 against Alabama. I think that may have been the biggest jump in power of, okay, now they've done it against a good opponent. I think Indiana is just as legit with that quarterback this year as they were with Rourke. It was at Rourke last year. But Indiana, another one, laying 7.5 against Iowa. And I have no doubt in my mind that if Indiana wants to, they can continue this Heisman campaign for their quarterback and do the same thing against the Iowa Hawkeyes this weekend.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We can't wait. I get the scroller going the whole time. They know to follow you, of course, on Grissom on X, NCAA Insiders. We'll have Nick Hathcote back tomorrow at 11 a.m. to talk some college football as well. But as we always wrap it up, Matt, tell them where they can find all your work.
It is at mattgrissom.com. Take you to the link tree. You can see our weekly simulations, which, disclosure, they have not been good the last week, but we're going to turn that around. Still learning all this and the modeling process. You can check out our power ratings, the IPR, and all of my best bets are there as well. And then I'm at Grissom on X on Twitter, or X.
Last question.
Thanks, Elon.
We turn to October, the middle of next week. Still some time to go, but I'll give you a few seconds to talk. Anything going on around in college baseball?
Yes. So we are working on a super secret partnership, collaboration, whatever. Not really, because Noah decided to tweet it out. But the folks over at 11.7 and College Baseball Central and us have decided to team up together to put together like a Feel Steel guide for college baseball. So for those that have always tuned in and followed our college baseball preseason guides, they usually feature the top 25, sometimes get a little deeper, go maybe like 10 more teams that you may want to follow that are outside the preseason top 25. this one's going to be every single team. It's going to be very time consuming, going to be a lot of information. But if you've seen our stuff, you know, I try to put the information out there like in an easy to read, very user friendly interface. So I hope that everybody, when it comes time, you'll check that out. Don't know if it's going to be a for sale type thing or if we're just selling ad space. We're still kind of figuring that out. But you're talking about quotes from every college baseball coach, updates on transfer portal, what your team's going to have, our projected lineups, starting rotations, just a ton of information. Every team's going to have 2 pages if you're a Power 4 team, and then every other team's going to have, I think, at least a page. So definitely something cool. Going to be a great resource for you to get ready for the 26th season.
Go follow him on X at Grissom on X, and of course the NCAA Insiders. Again, tomorrow 9 a.m. Myself and Scotty Webb will be back to talk NFL recap for tonight, and then of course get you ready for college and NFL for the weekend. Around 10:30, I will be a guest with Andrew McGinnis on a McGinnis Picks and Wager Talk, and then back at 11 a.m. we will have the return of Nick Hathcote. We'll be talking some college football. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Matt Grissom at Grissom on X, we wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy yourself, stay in your lanes, and we will see you soon.